Let's take a quick look at how markets have opened this Friday, and it looks like a sea of green. We'll try and pull that chart on your screens very shortly. Nifty 50 up 1.67% at 22,773. Sensex is also making gains, steady gains there at 1.67% up. Currently hovering at 75,029 mark. Both mid-cap and small caps also staging a recovery. Mid-cap up 1.43% at 50,291. Small cap up 1.68% at 15,512 mark. India Wix, the volatility index, is down 5.78% at 20.19. Remember, the markets opened this morning. They were closed yesterday for Mahavir Jayanti, and on Wednesday, I beg your pardon, the Nifty 50 had been a range-bound session again amid tariff-led uncertainty, possibly waiting for a trigger related to tariff to gain some direction. The index closed 0.6% lower on 9th of April after the RBI policy. The Wix remained above 20 mark. However, Donald Trump's decision later in the day on Wednesday to pause the reciprocal tariff for 90 days for all trading partners barring China raised hopes of an upward change in the market trend, and that change has now come in. Amit Kumar Gupta joining us live at this point to make sense of how markets are likely to move. Amit, some positivity there in Indian stock markets, but this was expected since markets were closed yesterday.
Yeah, hi Shweta, thank you for having me. Yes, I think market reacted to the news on Wednesday late night that all other countries except China will be at 10% tariff. So I think some positivity was expected. In fact, last night actually the markets actually declined a little bit. So otherwise we could have even had a better opening. Nevertheless, I think the global uncertainty as far as U.S. and China relations are concerned, that will continue. But for other countries now, it's a matter of how the negotiation goes and in what sectors you can get a better deal out of it. So yeah, things are looking better for India at least.
All right. But Amit, things are only looking better for the next 90 days because 90 days is the time window within which all countries, including India, will have to really figure out a trade deal with the US in order to ensure that those 26% tariff, at least on Indian goods, don't kick off 90 days later. So although the bad news is shifted a little bit, but it still stays. 90 days later, we could see a similar sort of meltdown in the markets.
Yeah, the uncertainty continues. It has just got a little less than what it was 2 3 days ago. But the sense is that India's impact with the US is not more than $6 billion. In the worst case, $10 million. So this can be negated to probably $5 billion or less. My sense is already there are a lot of negotiations which are going on in the background, and probably within the next 90 days when the negotiations happen, things can even look much better. So we will not know the contours of those negotiations as of now. But given what we are reading through the various interviews from both sides, India looks like they'll get a better deal out of it, especially in critical sectors like pharmaceuticals, etc. So I will not be too pessimistic on the fact that even within 90 days nothing will happen. Obviously, the uncertainty happens. The global growth is at question because US and China are two large global partners. They have $600 billion within them. We are already seeing that a lot of companies in US, they have stopped taking orders, or they're canceling orders. In China, a lot of factories, they've asked workers to go on leave. So this will create stress on the global growth, and obviously India will also get impacted.
In
But
fact,
at
I
the
was
same
about to come to that,
time,
Amit. As far as global trends is concerned, right now it does look like India is an outlier, given how US markets tanked
yes.
yesterday. As a matter of fact, even Asian markets traded very low, and following, of course, a sell-off in the US markets, India continues to be an outlier in the global gloom and doom, at least that unraveled in the markets.
Yes, I mean India is not that much impacted. As I said, it's a $6 to $10 billion kind of a impact as compared to let's say $600 billion for China and US. But I'm not reading too much into very day to day movements. I'm looking at the bigger picture. And my bigger picture is that if the U.S. China relationship continues to deteriorate and there is no headway, then eventually companies need to find other ways to do business, and the supply chains gets routed, and how India is going to benefit out of that needs to be seen. So let's not get caught up in day to day movement. I think there is volatility, there are huge negotiations which are going on at the back of the envelope, and you don't really know which sector will get impacted in what way. So it's little bit of a wait and watch, and continue to fine tune the investment strategy based on that.
Right. Let's also quickly take a look at some of the sectors and how they're doing. I want to especially talk about the IT pack because there's some sort of relief there, when it comes to the IT pack. And those of course, stocks on your screens right now, TCS down 0.5%. Well, that is, of course, also on the back of the fact that their fourth quarter results have been tepid. Infosys reporting 1.5% uptick this morning. Wipro up almost 2%. HCL Tech up 2.29%. Tech Mahindra also up 2.5%. So IT pack reacting positively. Amit, what's your sense of how IT stocks are going to take a cue on what's happening in the US? We know, you mentioned that some of those deals will have to be negotiated, but as far as IT pack is concerned, it's a mix of good and bad.
Yes, I think TCS result was a little bit of a flat kind of a result in Q4. The deals were up quarter on quarter about 20%, but they were down about 8% year on year. The management has guided that international markets will be better in FY26 as compared to FY25. But I think, we remain cautious on the IT pack. I think too little time has passed to certain whether the current events are short lived, and whether there is going to be impact or not. My sense is that whenever there is a huge volatility, then the BFSI packs gets impacted first in US, and that directly impacts the Indian services company, at least Indian IT services company, because almost 40-42% of the revenues comes from the BFSI. So I think that as far as the TCS result is concerned and the impact today on the IT sector. The deal which is doing in the markets, that is a little encouraging. But how much respite we get from the international business in H1, that needs to be seen.
All right, Amit, but before I let you go, I have to talk about pharma stocks as well because they are also outshining as of this morning, given that they are also maybe perhaps sighing some bated breath of relief after that pause that came by the way of tariffs. Let's quickly take a look at some of these pharma sectors right now. Sun Pharma up almost 4.5%. Cipla and other important stocks also reflecting that positive sentiment. What happens to pharma here on? There's no clarity really on whether tariffs will come through, not come through, or whether there'll be baseline 10% tariffs. But pharma stocks, is that something one should be buying right now? Or are they too volatile?
No, I mean, if someone does not have a position, they can probably wait a little bit out, and if someone has the position, then you can hold it. My sense is that it will probably remain at the 10% tariffs base level. Eventually, US needs cheaper drugs, and India is a prime candidate to provide that. So I think a lot of the stocks got sold off on day before yesterday trading sessions on this tariff being at 26% or even higher. So there was a comment made by Trump also that pharmaceuticals tariffs will be there. So there was a little bit of impact. So a lot of relief rallies there in today's market. But as of now, we are working with the assumption that it's not going to be more than 10% tariff on the base effect.
All right. The assumption is that it's going to be a 10% tariff. Amit, there's been a lot of volatility in the gold prices as well, and that was expected as people are now flocking to the safe haven asset. What are you making of the gold price chart right now, hovering around 92,000 for 10 gram, at least in India? Are these prices likely to go further up, given that there is so much volatility? I understand it's very difficult at the moment, especially for retail buyers, to take a call.
Right. So I think, obviously there is a lot of uncertainty in the global markets, which gold is a beneficiary for that. We are also seeing dollar index, coming to almost 100 levels. In fact, this morning it briefly went below 100 also. So again, that is, positive for the gold prices in the short run. But having said that, I think it's a trade. One needs to be very nimble to get in and out of this kind of volatility in the gold prices. So if someone has it, from the very lower levels, then they can probably look at, booking some profits from here on. But we will be not fresh buyers in gold at these prices. We will probably hold and take a call of booking profits intermittently over the next 1 month or so.
Amit, before I let you go, and I have to, it's been a week of uncertainty. Thank God it's a Friday. What are the key triggers you'll be tracking next week onward, given that at least 90-day pause is likely to continue?
So for me, I think what happens between U.S and China would determine a lot of things. At 54% tariffs, also the trade was impacted very heavily. I
Right.
think they've increased it now to 145%. It really doesn't matter now, because whether they increase it further, it's a more of an ego tussle right now. But how this equation develops over the next few weeks, that will be very critical, because that will determine how India is going to probably benefit out of it, that or not.
All right, Amit.
Apart from that, I think, yeah,
Right.
there are other countries who are also negotiating. So we really need to see. It's a wait and watch in that sense.
All right, it's going to be a wait and watch as far as other countries is concerned, but one will be closely eyeing the trade deal possibility of some, tariff war abating and resting it out, and possible solutions perhaps that U.S. and China can come to table, perhaps have a conversation. Amit, thank you very much for all those details. Thank you for joining us here on Morning Brief at 9.